Is in progress. It's the women's coxless pairs final in which high hopes surround Britain's Mirriam Batten and Turvey, and watching it live are Baillieu and Gerald Sinstadt.
You're looking at the Czech times at 500 metres, with Great Britain less than a length behind the French, the United States in third, then Austria, Germany and Holland. So we're at the moment at about the 800-metre mark. I'll just give you a quick run on the lane orders. Germany nearest to the camera in 1, the United States in 2, Holland in 3, France in 4, Great Britain in 5, Australia in 6. We certainly fancy Joanne Turvey and Mirriam Batten for a medal here. The question, Chris, is can they beat the French?
That's entirely it. I think the silver really is booked for them. The gold is within their reach. They have beaten the French this season, and they could do it again today. The only problem in the back of their mind is one of confidence, because at their last outing in Lucerne, they failed badly and lost to the French by a significant margin. In fact, they didn't even make the finish. They tried to beat them right off the start and faded away soon after the halfway mark. But they're rowing with great maturity here. That's the American pair.
And the McCagg sisters, who've been in the 8 for the last couple of years for the United States. But the race up ahead is between France and Great Britain. The British pair planning to make a bit of a push during this second 500 metres, and they're certainly still well in touch, overlapping well with the French pair. Coming up towards the 1,000-metre mark, halfway in this final of the women's coxless pairs. France from Great Britain, from the United States is the order. We'll get a check on the times in a moment or two. French pair, with a very experienced international oarswoman in the bar, Christine Goss. Last year in her 3rd Olympic Games, she was 4th in this event. The Americans again in 3rd place. Order has not changed over the second 500 metres. The margin, though, between France and Great Britain has opened, but not by very much.
So this is the way they've got to beat them. They've got to hold on to them and then try and row them down in the last third of the race. This is how they've beaten them before. They certainly can't try and lead them from the front, and they haven't done so. It's really going to be a question of who's been best prepared and who's got the endurance capacity to row the last third of the race.
France still lead from Great Britain, from the United States.
And Joanne and Mirriam have both been up training at high altitude for just this sort of occasion. The extra little bit of endurance they may have gained at high altitude training may just see them through in this last couple of minutes of the race.
And they are certainly enjoying the best conditions of the day. We had rain earlier on, we've had pretty brisk breezes, and it's been very cold, around 13, 14, 15 degrees centigrade. But there's a little bit of weak sunshine now, and the conditions are fairly flat. There are the French, Goss and Courtin, the winners at Lucerne. The British pair still well in touch.
The British really haven't changed their pace at all. They're rowing very long and steadily, but they're going to have to change pace quite dramatically if they're to get back on terms. A length, which is a little over a length at the moment, is not a great deal in the pair, but they mustn't let the French get away, and the French are pushing away a bit at the moment.
And this is the 1,500-metre mark, and there's now clear water between France and Great Britain, and the Americans are in it too. They're only about a canvas down on Great Britain. If Britain want the gold here, they've got to show they want it. They really need to mean to be world champions. They know that they can compete in this class. They know that the medals are there for the taking. This is going to show whether they really have the stuff of champions about them. These are the Germans, Gerda Joan and Anja Piritz. They're out of it. France from Great Britain, and it was nearly 2 lengths at the 1,500-metre mark. The order hasn't changed, but the margin has, and that is bad news for Britain.
Yes, they slipped badly between about 1,250 and 1,500. The French started to push out, and basically the British pair did not react. And they're now trying to react, but it just doesn't look sharp enough to me yet. They're going to have to find a gear change if they're to get back on terms at all. And in fact, they're going to have to fight very hard to keep the rest of the field from them.
Up 400 metres, 350 metres to go, 250 metres to go. France go through it in first. France from Great Britain, with the Americans pressing hard. These are the Americans, McCagg and McCagg sisters, Elizabeth and Mary. And it's beginning to tell on them too. This is a hard race. There are the French, beyond them, Batten and Turvey. That angle is a bit deceptive, 250 metres to go. and it's still the French, and on the far side the Australians are coming into the picture. This is really a race in which the fortunes are changing almost with every stroke, and the Australians look very strong on the far side. The Americans on this side, and it looks very much as though Britain are going to be out of the medals altogether unless Turvey and Batten have got something quite spectacular up their sleeves. The French are going to take the gold, and it's going to be very close for silver and bronze, but Britain are not going to be in it. France coming to the line now. That's gold for France. Top of the picture, the Australians. They just take silver. Bronze for the United States, and disappointment for Joanne Turvey and Mirriam Batten, who have not done themselves justice.
No, indeed, very disappointing. In fact, they strayed out of their lane even in the last